So what do you want to talk about?
Let's do script training.
Okay. Script training how?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Calvin Wright. I'm here with Gerry.
How's it going?
Today we're gonna go over and train on a few different things, but the number one priority that we want to train on today is like veteran script training. I was on YouTube the other night and I was, looking through some videos trying to find some training on veteran script training, and funny enough, there's only one, and it's from me and Mahmood on
Really?
all of YouTube. There's like nothing.
Oh wow.
So I want to put out some more content here for you guys on script training for veterans and just general life insurance script training, because you can never do enough script training, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Gerry, how long you been here for?
It's my fifth month.
Fifth month. And what do you average issue paid per month?
About 25K.
25K. Okay, cool. And I've been here for like 4 years, and I do about like 500 grand per year personal production. So we definitely know what works, and we're going to teach you guys the tricks, the secrets, which there is none other outside of just dialing a lot and having a bunch of extra leads. But we're going to give you like some of the tools that will help you overcome basic objections and go through some basic script stuff, because you need some type of a guideline to actually be successful when you're going through something, when you're calling leads. So I'm going to be the client. Gerry is going to go through the script that he uses, and then I'm going to throw some objections out there. And then at the end, we'll kind of walk through and talk about the different objections and how to overcome them.
Got it. Ring ring.
Hello?
Hey, Calvin?
Yes.
Hey, Calvin. This is Gerry. I'm calling about the benefits for veterans life insurance that you submitted for.
Yeah, I don't remember doing that.
I completely understand. No worries. I have your date of birth here as 11/12/1957. Is that correct?
That's my birthday.
Got it. Cool. So I'm the medical underwriter that's been assigned to your file. My job is super simple. I'm just in charge of checking your eligibility and then seeing which one of the 26 carriers is going to be the best fit for you. Now, before I get started, Calvin, could you grab a pen and paper so you can write down my credentials?
Yeah, but I'm really not that interested. Can you just give me some quotes?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going to go to. I just need to go through a little bit of a process to get to that point. Let me know when you have that pen and paper ready.
Okay.
All right. So my name is Gerry with the G. That's Gerry. And my license number is 1234567.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Cool. So that's basically my work social security number, so you can identify me within the state and see you're talking to a licensed professional. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what was your main concern when you sent in your request? Was it like most veterans just wanted to make sure that your final expenses don't fall a burden to your loved ones?
Yeah, man, I'm really just trying to get some prices to figure out what I need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, were you also looking to leave some behind if possible?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to leave some behind, I guess.
Absolutely. And I have here your beneficiary would be your wife, Stephanie. Is that correct?
Yes.
Gotcha. Now, are you currently working or you're retired?
I am still working, but I retired from the military.
Got you. Thank you for your service, by the way. Now, is Stephanie working as well, or she's retired?
She's not working.
Okay. Now, a lot of people that I talk to already have one or two policies set in place or a savings account for something like this. Do you already have something, or will this be your first one?
I already have some life insurance in place.
Okay. How long ago did you get that?
Probably like 15, 20 years ago.
Okay. Now, do you know which carrier that's with?
Man, it's been so long, I cannot tell you.
For sure. And when does it expire?
I actually don't know.
I got you. So you know what kind of policy it was?
I think it was a term policy.
I got you. So yeah, no worries. So term policies definitely expire after a certain amount of time. But what I'm going to help you get with is something that's going to be permanent. That's going to make sure that Stephanie doesn't have to worry about any of the final expenses. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Now, do you guys have any kind of savings set aside for something, or what would it look like for Stephanie if you were to pass away and you guys were to lose your income?
We have some money to put away. I'm not really too sure. We still have the house.
You guys still have a mortgage?
Yeah.
Okay. How much is your mortgage on it? How much is left?
How much is left? Like 500,000.
Okay. And how much do you guys pay per month?
Like 3K.
Okay. Now, would she be able to afford to continue the payments if you were to pass away and you lose your income?
Oh, probably not.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you correctly, what we want to do is we want to put something in place to protect her. And it's also going to give her breathing room to pay for the mortgage while she decides what she wants to do with the house, whether it be keep it, sell it, or whatever. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, perfect. So I need to ask you some medical questions to help me navigate which one of the carriers would be the best. Now, are you a smoker or non-smoker?
I'm a non-smoker.
Okay, perfect. Now, have you ever had any heart issues, any heart attacks, stroke, congestive heart failure?
No.
Okay. Any cancer in the last 5 years?
None.
Right. Any diabetes?
Yes.
Okay, type 1 or type 2?
Type 2.
Do you take metformin or insulin?
I take insulin.
Cool. How long ago were you diagnosed?
Probably like 5 years ago.
Okay. Now, when's the last time you got your A1C levels checked, and what were they?
It was under 6, and it was like a month ago.
That's really good. Okay. Now, any neuropathy?
No.
Okay. Any high blood pressure?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you take medication for that?
Yes, I take lisinopril.
Gotcha. Any breathing complications like COPD or asthma?
No.
Okay. Any kidney or liver problems?
Mm-mm.
Cool. All right. So just to give you an idea of how this works, it's not like going into the grocery store and buying it off of the shelf, right? You can't just pick it up like a loaf of bread. With this kind of thing, we have to make sure that we get approved.
Mm-hmm.
So what the carriers are going to do is they're going to take a look at what's called your Medical Information Bureau.
Okay.
What that is a compilation of all your medical records, your hospitalizations, and prescriptions over the last 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
After they take a look at that, that's when they make their final decision. Now, in some instances, it is instant, but sometimes it can take 24 to 48 hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you could grab a pen and paper so you can write down the features this is going to come with, let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So number one, it's going to be immediate coverage. Okay. What that means is as soon as you make your first premium, you're going to be covered day one. There's no 2-year wait period.
Okay.
Number two, it's going to be locked in. What that means is the price is never going to increase on you and the coverage is never going to decrease on you, right? The last thing we want to do is put something in place that's going to increase over time to the point where you can't afford it anymore and then you lose all that money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, number three, it's going to be tax-free. So what that means is you won't ever have to pay any tax on it, and then Stephanie won't have to pay any taxes on it at the end of the year with whatever money's left over.
Okay.
Okay. Then number four, you're going to build cash value. What that means is if further down the line, if you wanted to borrow some of the money to pay off a debt or pay off a loan, you can borrow against this policy, essentially making it your own bank. Okay. Number five, you're going to get what are called living benefits. So living benefits come in two portions. The first one, if you were to get a terminal illness and the doctor tells you have 24 to 48 months to live, you'll be able to access 50% of the policy tax-free while you're still alive. Or if you were to get in an accident where you are unable to perform basic life functions like eating by yourself, bathing by yourself, moving around by yourself, getting dressed by yourself, you'll also be able to access 50% of the policy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then next is going to be called double accidental payout. So what that means is there's two ways that people pass away. The first one is through natural causes like old age or an illness. And the second is through an accident. Like God forbid you were to slip, fall, choke, drown, or get in a car crash. Now, if you were to pass away from an accident, the payout would then double. So if you were to get a $10,000 policy and pass away from an accident, Stephanie would then get $20,000 completely tax-free. I'd keep that one to myself, though, not tell her. Okay. And then lastly, it's going to be permanent coverage. So this coverage will never expire on you. Even if you live to be 150 years old, it'll never expire. You'll still have coverage.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So based off everything you told me, the system is built out 3 packages. I have a bronze, a silver, and a gold.
Okay.
Now, the bronze is the least amount of coverage. It's just going to cover the basic expenses. This is going to be $10,000 in coverage for $70 a month. Okay, and that's going to be $20,000 in accidental. The silver is going to be $15,000 in coverage with $30,000 in accidental for $90 a month. And that's the most popular one. That's the one that most people in your situation go for because it covers everything, but it also accounts for inflation in the future. Okay, and then the last one is a gold option. This is going to be $20,000 in coverage for $110 a month. That's going to be $20,000 in accidental. Out of those 3 options, the bronze, the silver, and the gold, which one makes most sense for your budget, or did you want to look up and down in coverage?
The bronze option kind of makes the most sense, but I do need to talk to my wife.
I completely understand. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, when you do talk to her, were you guys going to talk about whether or not you needed a policy or just which package to go with?
She does all the budget and financing, so I don't really know the budget.
Yeah. Well, do I have permission to be completely blunt with you?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have already talked about the budget, right? This is not something you just did on the whim. You guys have already discussed needing another policy. You guys already kind of went about it, right? Am I right?
Kinda. I mean, she kind of told me to figure it out.
Sure. So she trusts you to figure it out, right? So what I would recommend is if you know you need a policy, is to go with the bronze option, right? Because the most important thing is to have something in place. Then after you talk to her, if the budget allows, we can always give you a call back and we can go with the silver or the gold option. But at least this way you have something in place because we never know what's going to happen. Something can happen in the next couple of weeks where you don't qualify for this anymore. So we just want to make sure you have something in place. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Cool. So I just need to confirm some basic information. Your full legal name. How do you spell your name?
Calvin Wright, Calvin.
Perfect. And I have your phone number is 281-330-8004. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Email is jameslovescalvin@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Perfect. Got you. And then get the rest of the information from there.
Cool. All right. So that is a pretty quick and dirty way to kind of run through an application, as he was kind of like, overcoming the objections. Wasn't like blowing through them, was like taking them by the head and like acknowledging them, attacking them, and overcoming them. I'm going to briefly go over my quick script that I use as well, so that way you guys have a couple different attack points to go through this. Jerry's going to be the client this time. We're going to blow through it, and then we'll go through some objections, okay? Like, ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Gerry?
Yes.
Hey, Gerry, this is Calvin. I was giving you a call about the life insurance for veterans. It looks like I have your branch of service on here as Army. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. My job's super simple. It's just to help you figure out the different options available. Everybody's a little bit different, but it's one of three things, typically speaking. One being that you just want to cover your final expenses. Two being cover like debt, mortgage, loans, that kind of thing. Or three being like legacy money or replace income. Which is it for you?
Probably legacy and replace income.
Okay. Are you still working?
Yes.
Awesome. Did you retire from the military? Like, how long did you serve for?
I was in there for 10 years.
10 years. Why'd you get out?
I was just time to try something else. I got sick of getting yelled at.
Awesome. What'd you do in the military?
I jumped out of perfectly good airplanes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of jumps?
Yeah, I had over 100 jumps.
Okay. I bet your knees feel some type of way, right?
Yeah, they're not the best. I can tell when it's going to rain soon based on the knee pain coming.
Go figure, right? That's awesome. Well, I was in the military as well, so thank you for your service. I really appreciate it. My job here today is really just to help you figure out the different options and find something, that makes sense for your situation. Obviously, all the companies are state and federal regulated, meaning that all the prices are going to be within $5-10 of each other. But what the system allows me to do is kind of figure out which company will give you the most amount of coverage for the least amount of money per month. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And you said you're working right now?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
I do landscaping.
Landscaping. Okay. And are you single, married, widowed, retired?
I'm married.
Retired. Okay. Sorry. You're married?
Married, yeah.
Okay. And you have any kids, under 18, or are they all at the house by now?
They're all out of the house at this point, yeah.
Okay, great. And then, so you said you wanted to replace income and kind of leave some money behind, like mortgage debt, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, is your wife still working?
No, she doesn't work.
She doesn't work. You're the sole income provider?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Are you collecting any VA money?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. What's your percentage?
75.
75. Okay, so you're getting like 1.5, $2K a month on that.
Yeah, give or take.
And then the rest is active income that you're working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then she stays at home, kind of like keeps the
Yeah.
house in order, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So if you die tomorrow and that income shut off and the VA money's off, like, what does that look like for you guys?
It would be probably pretty devastating. She doesn't have any income. We have a little bit of a savings, but not a lot.
Okay. And then like, I assume you probably have some equity in the house, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of want to make sure that she doesn't lose the house in the event that you pass away, and she can kind of have some time to figure out what she wants to do, or do you think she'll want to sell? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure what she would do. Kids live out of state too, so I don't know if she would sell and move or stay. I'm not sure.
Okay, so really just buying time and trying to get her figured out, so that way she's not making immediate changes overnight.
Right, exactly.
Okay, and do you have any life insurance in place currently?
I don't know.
Okay, how long have you been without life insurance?
For 59 years now.
Oh shit, that's a long time. How come you waited so long? What's going on?
Honestly, when you're young, you're invincible. It's not something that you think about. You never think that time's gonna come for you. But as you get older and things start to hurt on your body without even doing anything, you're like, okay, maybe I'm not invincible. I probably should get something in place.
Okay, and are you, did you have anything that happened that made you want to think of this? Like any family members or like something medical happened that kind of maybe got your attention?
Yeah, a couple of family members have passed away through time, but no immediate family. But yeah, just it's come time it's something I need to get put in place, I think.
Okay, and are you planning on being buried or cremated?
I haven't really actually thought about that.
Okay. Are you where like the VA doesn't pay for any of that stuff? You kind of have to come out of pocket. The only thing they supply is the tombstone and the piece of land.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you familiar with how much a burial costs, considering that you buried someone recently?
I haven't known.
Okay, it's like 15-20 grand for burial. $5 to $10K for cremation, and then obviously any other miscellaneous stuff that you have going on, like mortgage and all that kind of stuff. So I'm assuming you're probably looking for like 50 grand or more at least to kind of cover the basics, I imagine.
Yeah, nothing too extravagant. I'm not trying to leave her with a bunch of money to go marry someone else. Just something to cover, give her some breathing room, I guess.
Okay, great. And so what I'm gonna do now is go through a couple of health questions just to figure out which company will be the best fit for you. Have you been taking or prescribed any medications in the last 10 years?
Yeah, I take some cholesterol medication, high blood pressure medication, and then stuff for my knee pain.
Okay. Any heart attack, stroke, cancer?
No, sir.
COPD, AIDS, HIV?
Negative.
Hepatitis?
Negative.
Okay. And do you have any felonies, probation, parole, anything like that?
Not that you know of.
All right.
No,
Any suspended driver's licenses?
Nope.
Okay. So basically, you got some high blood pressure. You said diabetes or no?
No, no diabetes.
High blood pressure,
Blood pressure,
cholesterol, and then
and
some
then
knee
knee pain.
pain. Okay. And then, are you familiar with the different types of life insurance?
Not exactly. No, I've read a little bit, asked ChatGPT some questions, but nothing too in depth.
Okay. So I'll briefly go over and how all these work, but real quick here, what's your height and weight?
5'9" and I'm 135 pounds.
Okay, great. And I have your age down here is 58.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a few different types of life insurance, and they all do different purposes. Okay.
Mhm.
You have term life insurance, which is temporary life insurance. Usually the cheapest, hardest to get approved for, and it's usually for people when they're younger, just to cover the basics, like mortgage, that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
when they're super young. No matter what, it's going to expire. So at your age, it's not really the common thing to get, just because no matter what, obviously it's going to expire, rather probably before the time you die. I mean, the insurance company knows when, realistically, probably around when you're going to die, and they design it around that.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay. The next option is going to be whole life insurance, which is permanent life insurance. It's the most common for someone your age.
Mhm.
And how it works is it's a permanent life insurance policy where the cost never changes and the amount of insurance never changes. It also builds a little bit of cash value. And no matter what happens to you, regardless of how old or sick you get, it literally will never change. It's a guaranteed payout, basically, at the end of the day.
Okay.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And the third option is really just mostly for retirement stuff, which doesn't sound like you're kind of looking for. So I'll kind of breeze over that one. But anyways, here, so you said your spouse is going to be your beneficiary.
Yes.
Okay. You plan on putting your kids on here as well?
No, just her.
Okay. And then, what would you say your annual income is?
120,000.
Okay. And that's all from you, including the VA money, or is that
Correct.
a split?
Yeah, it's the total.
Okay, gotcha. And then, so what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to figure out a few different options, and then we can go up or down from there. Like I said before, it's all state regulated, meaning that I can't adjust the price. It's literally fixed based on your birthday and health. They're not going to dock you for any health things that you go on because it's really not that serious. But out of the options I explained earlier, which of the two programs makes the most sense for you? I know I'll tell you what I recommend.
Probably the whole life.
Yeah. Okay. That's probably what I'd recommend too, just because you're going to get older and the other one's going to expire and it really is not going to make a whole lot of sense for what your situation is.
Mhm.
So I'm going to start here at 50 grand and then we can work our way up or down based on budget. Does it sound fair?
Okay.
Okay. 50,000 is going to be $250 a month. Do you want to go up or down from there?
We can go a little higher.
Okay. So I'll go up in 25 grand increments and then you kind of tell me where you are budget wise. Okay.
Okay.
So 75 grand is going to be 308 and 0 cents per month. Do you want to go up or down from there?
I think that's a good one.
Okay. Do you want to go, is that 100% comfortable or do you want to go down a little bit just to be a little conservative?
I think that one, I could probably make that one work.
Okay. What I'm going to do next here is, Gerry, I'm going to pull up the application. I'm going to go through some of the health questions I already asked you, obviously, but go ahead and grab your driver's license for me real quick while I get this pulled up. Okay.
Okay.
Boom. I got that pulled up and then I'm just going to rip through the app questions.
Got it.
So it's a little bit different, but like the concept's the same.
Yeah. Two different approaches. I like how you kind of you eliminate a lot of the objections that could pop up by telling people, hey, it's all state regulated. It's all going to be within the same price range.
Mhm.
That way, it kind of eliminates the people that want to shop. Like, hey, as I mentioned earlier, it's all state regulated. It's all going to be within the same price range.
Yeah, because ultimately people want to feel like they're not getting ripped off. They want to feel like you're doing something good for them and you're giving a good deal. But if you just let them know, like, hey, you ever shopped on Amazon? Yes. Okay, well, you know how you can filter from cheap to most expensive on Amazon? I do the same thing on here. I can literally just punch your birthday in here, your medications, filter it from top to bottom, and then we'll just pick which one fits your budget the best.
Yeah.
And then I used to give 3 options, but sometimes I feel like people, especially if the policies are bigger, they feel kind of blocked in and they don't want to make a decision because you're only giving them limited options. So I kind of let them take control a little bit there. I'm like, hey, I'm going to start here. You want to go up or down? So that way I'm not wasting my time building 3 packages if they try to just give me a bunch of objections there.
Right.
And that way they can really feel like they're customizing the plan.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go up to, 50 is not that expensive. Actually, I want to go up to, 60 or 70. And eventually you'll find the top and then you'll kind of work your way back down and you'll downsell them from the last best one. Because they're going to probably try to max out their budget.
For sure.
And so I just always try to knock them down more below that.
Yeah, and you give them the I don't want to say like the illusion of control, but kind of so that they don't feel like you're just running through them. They're taking control of you as well.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I actually want this.
Yeah,
and then they feel like it's like their choice,
Yeah.
But let's run through some objections real quick, and then we'll probably wrap this thing up. But I hope this is super helpful for you guys. The best thing you can do possible is with this training is actually go and apply it and run through the objections yourself, because there's nothing better than live feedback from clients. We can't tell you all the objections you're going to get because there's unlimited amount of objections. Yeah. But if you're following the script and you're using some type of attack plan, then you should minimize the objections and you should be able to isolate which ones you're struggling with. So let's start off with I don't really get this ever, but let's start with a social objection.
Yeah. So, you don't want to give me your social over the phone, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I completely understand. You can't be too careful these days, especially with what the internet is doing. So the reason why I asked for the social is, remember earlier I mentioned that they're going to take a look at what's called your medical information bureau.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's how they're able to look at it. Okay, so it's kind of like your credit report for your health. They look at it through your social. Don't worry, it's not going to be a good credit check or anything to knock you down. It's just for that. And also, when you pass away, it's going to be the only thing on your death certificate to be able to match you, and then
Hmm.
make sure that the money's going to the right person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So go ahead and go with that social. What is it?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Perfect. Yeah. One thing that I've found is when you're getting an objection and you overcome the objection, a lot of new reps or a lot of reps, what they'll do is they'll overcome the objection and then they'll just wait and see what the customer says next.
Yeah.
With this kind of thing, you have to overcome it and then move on with it, right? You can't just
Yeah.
give them any space to think about another thing to say. You
Yeah.
have to move on. It's like the example I give is like if you're in a street fight and you punch the guy, you're not going to wait to see if that guy punches you back. You're going to keep punching him, you know? So it's
Yeah.
the same thing. You overcome the objection and then you keep rolling with it like nothing happened.
Yeah, and the way I like to do it too is similar to what Gerry was saying. Is I actually go through on like the information page, where you're collecting all the information in the application. Is I will ask every question besides the social, and so I'll gather all the important stuff, which is like soft wins for me. So name, birthday, height, weight, address, date of birth, email address, phone number, all that stuff, and then social is generally like the last question on that page, and then I'll be like, okay, next will be your social. This is what's going to match your death certificate whenever you pass away. Or I'll say, okay, next, this will be your social. This is what's going to match your medical record and your death certificate when you pass away.
Mm-hmm.
Like some variation of that. So that way you give a rhyme and reason for why you're asking, which should eliminate any type of weird, awkward objection you get there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then I think the next most common objection that you would see inside of like an e-application would probably be a banking objection.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So walk us through how you overcome a banking objection.
So a lot of times, they'll tell you like they don't feel comfortable giving their bank account information or anything of that sort. Like, yeah, Mr. Customer, I completely understand. Again, you can't be too careful, especially with what's going on in the internet these days. This is something that I have to put in the application and send it as a whole package so that they can take a look at it because they need to see that that you have a way to pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was asking earlier if you get paid into a bank account or to a direct express card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what we can do is we can space it out your first premium for 10 days or so. That gives you plenty of time to receive the package in the mail and look everything over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I have their routing number as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 9 times out of 10, that's correct. One time it's off. Can you confirm that for me really quick?
Okay, yeah, that's correct.
And then what's the account number associated with that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Perfect. I got you. And then when you want it to start?
The first.
Perfect. Boom. Go from there.
Cool. The way I like to do it is so right before the beneficiary page, I'll collect the beneficiary information, and then next will be the banking information. So the way I like to do it is I say, okay, hey Gerry, and what day of the month you want this to be reoccurring on?
The 15th.
The 15th. All right. And then the name of the bank it'll be set up to?
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo. Okay. And you said the 15th of every month?
Yes, please.
Okay. Next will be the direct deposit information, starting with the routing number first. Go ahead and grab that for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, great. And then account number second?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Awesome. And again, you said the 15th of every month, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to send you a 6-digit code now. This is going to be able to get the final approval, and make sure you still have that pen and paper handy so I can give you that policy number. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
So a lot of times I think when you get to the point where you they give you their social, but then the banking objection,
It's cost.
That cost, and then also to trust. That's why asking a lot of questions is beneficial. What I like to do is at the very beginning, like when I tell them grab a pen and paper so you can write down my credentials. That way, instead of waiting towards the end to give you the credentials, when it's like, hey, I'm about to ask you for sensitive information. Let me prove that I'm not a scammer.
Yeah.
What that does is I feel like that whole time that you've been talking, if you wait to the very end to give them the credentials, they might not even been paying full attention because they're thinking in the back of your head, is this guy a scammer or not?
Yeah.
So I like to give them at the very beginning. That way they can verify me, like, okay, this guy's legit.
Mhm.
Let me listen to what he has to say, and then you build a little bit more rapport that way.
Yeah. Totally, dude. Like the whole point of them getting a piece of paper and pen is number one, rapport building, like Gerry said, and then number two is also to buy you time just to breathe a little bit. Like if you into the script, you confirmed all the information, and now you're about to start rolling through your situation with that client, rolling through the script. Like if you tell them to go grab a pen and paper, that gives you 3 minutes, maybe even less, 30 seconds, to be able to be like, okay, where am I on the script? And like prepare yourself, get your shit right, and then like start rolling through it.
Yeah.
And then boom, you go over the information, you build credibility, and then same thing when you're tying it down. Like, hey, you still have the pen and paper. Like that's how you know they're still tentative to what you're saying.
And then you're also making sure that they have some skin in the game too, right? Like if I'm talking to somebody and they won't get up to go grab a pen and paper. They're just like, oh yeah, no worry, just say it to me or text it to me. There's a 99% chance when I give them to the social or to the banking, they're not going to go grab a checkbook for me either, right? So then you're also
Mhm.
kind of gauging what kind of a customer you have. Okay, is this going to be an uphill battle? What, am I going to have to pull out all the stops? What kind of things? I've had people that like will put me on hold for 5 minutes. They go get a pen and paper, and I know, like I'm thinking the whole time I'm there, just happily like, oh, this is a deal. It's done. Like these people are, she's ruffling through all this stuff to get a clean piece of paper to write on and finding a pen. It's a wrap.
Yeah, and also same thing with the driver's license. If you're asking them to get their driver's license before the application, like they're committed to going through the application
Yeah,
with you.
absolutely. Yeah.
So like those small wins builds trust and also builds confidence and like solidifies the sale. So it's a super key piece that people miss out on the beginning because they're so rushing to get to numbers, and the client tells them it's too expensive or they don't want it anymore or whatever the objection is, and then they give up. So it's like super important to be persistent. Stay on the phone until they hang up because they're not going to call you back.
Yeah, they're never going to call you back.
I think it was funny. Like I was closing a deal the other day. I literally was getting a bank objection because I think the dude was on the toilet. And he was like, "Oh, I just have some things, and he wouldn't hang up, but he like wouldn't like go get it." And so I just stayed on the phone until like the phone call canceled, and I was like, "Oh, whatever. I didn't like nothing's gonna happen there." And he literally called me back 30 minutes later. He was like, "Yeah, I was in the bathroom. I just was taking care of private matters. Like I didn't want to like say it out loud, but I was like in the middle of something, and I was like,
God.
oh, that was kind of strange."
Yeah.
But I mean, and I've been doing this for like 4 years, and that happened one time. The guy actually called me back with me.
Yeah.
So like, just keep that in mind. Like they're not gonna call you back. Booking an appointment, the chances of them showing up is 50% or less. Like it's super important to do one call close because that's how you're going to be the most profitable. Now, a few more objections I want to go over before we wrap this up, Gerry, is going to be I want to think about it or I want to talk to my wife.
Yeah, I completely understand. Same way I did it earlier. Now, did you want to think about whether or not you needed a policy or just which package to go with?
I just honestly need to talk to my wife. Like we make all the decisions together.
Yeah, I completely understand. Would it be fair to say you guys have already discussed this previously? Like, how long have you been married?
Like 7 years.
You're not just doing stuff on the whim now, right? You've already spoken to her, I'm sure.
Honestly, we just haven't really gone over it.
I got you. Do you mind if I give you my professional recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, so when I come to in situations like this, what most people do in your position is they go for the bronze option. Because the most important thing is to make sure that we have something in place.
Okay.
And once you talk to your wife and you guys do realize maybe you have a little bit more of a flexibility in the finances, you can always give me a call back and go to the silver or the gold option. Because I'm sure you would agree the most important thing is to get something in place.
Okay.
Right. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and fill out the application to help you walk you through it. I just need to confirm your name and blah, 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 blah. And go through it as well.
Okay.
With this one, they're 9 times out of 10, if you did your job correctly, they'll say, just which package. Because if they tell you, I need to talk to her whether or not we need the policy, you didn't build enough on the why.
Yeah.
Right. So you didn't do your job correctly. They shouldn't say whether or not I need the policy. After digging into the why, they should know they need a policy. You should have built that in them.
Okay.
It just need a matter of like which package to go with.
And then what about a objection of it's too expensive?
So
I'm not getting enough coverage for the cost.
Yeah, on that one too. When I did my pitch, I kind of breezed through it, but you should be asking people what their financial situation is, right? Like after all the bills are paid, everything is said and done, how much you typically have left over.
Okay.
Right? It's a little bit of an intrusive question. Sometimes people might feel weird about asking it, but what that does is that sets you up for when you're presenting numbers later. You're not presenting like if someone tells you that I only have $300 left over, I'm not going to hit them with the $400 a month thing.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be running into something like that because you should be asking them what they have to work with, and then you should be presenting numbers according to what they have left over.
Yeah.
So I don't ever really get that. It has happened in a while where people are just like, I have $200 left over, and I'm hitting them with a $50 package, and they're like, well, what if I get a flat tire one of these days? I get something like that. So if you're just doing your job correctly, building the why, and you're pitching them to like where you're not extending them too much, you shouldn't be getting that.
I love that.
How would you overcome it?
The cost objection, I would just be like, okay, great. Realistically, how much money per month could you afford to put into this in your budget?
Man, like $40.
Okay. What I would say is something's better than nothing. You don't have 10, 20, 30 grand saved up, right?
No, I don't.
Okay. And you're in your 60s. So and you haven't had that in a while, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what most people do is they just end up getting the lowest option, which we could build one around the $40 mark or even less. And then we can increase it later whenever your budget goes up, Social Security goes up or whatever the case is. But something's better than nothing, especially if you don't have any money saved up right now, because it's going to be harder to come up with 30 grand, 20 grand, even 10 grand rather than this come up with like $30 or $40. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pull up the application. I'll go through some of the questions to make sure we can even get approved for this program. But obviously it has to fit the budget. So do you want to go with like the $35 option or the 40 option?
Like 35 just in case.
Okay, let's just go to 30 just to be safe. I don't want you to stretch the budget, but I definitely want to make sure your family is taken care of.
Okay.
Okay, go grab your driver's license from me real quick. I'm gonna get this pulled up.
Got it.
So I'm a big fan of downsell.
Mhm.
Like, even if it's a massive policy, just downsell.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be happy, you know. Like, it's
Right.
pretty rare. Like, I've only had maybe 30 to 50 clients ever call me and said like actually want to increase their coverage
Mhm.
out of thousands.
Yeah, for sure.
You know. But I think we'll wrap there unless you have any other objections you want to go over.
No, that's it.
Okay.
We'll see this in the next episode.
So real quick, guys, every single day, Monday through Friday, at 9:15 Central and 1 p.m. Central, we do a live training over objections and script on aftermathdials.com.
Aftermathdials.com.
Right, Gerry?
Yes, sir.
How do you spell that?
AFTERMATHDIALS.com.
Okay. We'll link that in the bio for anybody that wants to jump on there. We'll do it Monday through Friday. And then for the scripts and some tools and worksheets to work through, you can find those on fflforefrontagent.com in the agent hub. It's going to be FF, like Fox Lima. Forefront would be FORE, front, FRONT, agent.com. Again, in the agent hub, that's where you'll find all those tools that we talked about and went over. If you have any questions, reach out to us, DM, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case is. More than happy to help and go through some training with y'all.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Next time.